Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Blue Ribbon Lounge podcast.
Welcome to the lounge.
Dave is down here in the lounge.
Matt's down here in the lounge.
And we got a special guest for this episode of the podcast. We got
marathon runner.
Do you care what we call you? Your full name?
That's fine.
Just first name?
Let's first name, in case I say anything questionable.
Sounds good. We got a friend off the street, Justin.
Jiu-jitsu practitioner.
X.
Justin X.
X practitioner.
Oh, X practitioner.
Yeah.
Justin X.
Yeah.
But we thought this is going to come out around the holidays, and we thought we would just get some friends onto the podcast and make it a merry old time. Have you ever done a podcast or anything?
No, this is my first one. I'm excited. Kind of nervous.
Yeah.
This fucking big fucking thing in my face and the headphones. It's official.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Christmas spectacular. Spooktacular.
Yeah, Christmas spooktacular.
This is kind of like Alex Jones and Eddie Bravo being on the same podcast.
Choke me out.
Choke me out. Punch me as hard as you can.
How have you been? With the holidays ramping up, Thanksgiving was just happened.
Stressed.
Yeah?
Stressed, yeah, a little bit.
Get pretty stressed around the holidays?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Do you have any family traditions that you normally do?
I can't say that I do. We're pretty traditionless, I would say. Yeah.
Well, it's hunting season.
Yeah, I guess that's my tradition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We just hunt a lot.
That's all right. That's cool. Well, what about you, Dave? Do you have any Christmas traditions?
Christmas traditions? Besides sending out CDs and Christmas cards.
Well, describe the CD you sent out. I got one last year. I was pretty excited about
It's a mix. It depends each year, but it's like a Christmas.
It is a mix. It's a mix CD.
Oh,
a mix CD.
It's like a mixed tape. But
Everybody gets the same one, and so the idea is maybe in time, spatially, you might be having to listen to it at the same time as someone in like North Carolina.
Oh, I don't know if we talked about it. You have a Thanksgiving tradition.
I do.
Yeah. At 11 o'clock in the afternoon on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well, that's a thing with friends and family.
The podcast listeners aren't friends and family, you son of a bitch.
Well, you know,
all right, maybe next Thanksgiving.
Some things.
Maybe next Thanksgiving will be when Dave divulges his passion for Thanksgiving. But yeah, I really liked that mix CD you gave me. There's a few memorable songs on it. It was a year ago. And actually now I hear some of them on the radio all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Probably. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, I'm telling you, yes.
Okay. I'm not a radio guy, I guess.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, Justin, I don't know how often you listen to the podcast. You're probably like a super frequent listener, you know.
You're number 4 of my top 5.
But we review a beer. I got you one right here.
Nice.
This beer I got here is from Wake Brewing. It's Krampus Blood.
Whoa, the Christmas Krampus.
It's a Nordic stout.
Yeah, it's so we had an episode we talked about, I think on Halloween. Talked about he's a puppeteer. He does he teaches at the Davenport Junior Theater. What is his puppet? Foam Foolery. Yeah, thanks, Dave. Foolery. But he also does. He's really into metal music. He's made a bunch of metal artists as puppets, and they're really cool looking. And he has like a faux metal band. His puppets have a metal band, and so this is actually partnered Wake Brewing, Throwin' Goats, which is the puppet band.
Okay, that's like full circle.
Yeah, so
he collaborated with the puppets to make this beer.
Yeah, the puppets were all in there.
All right.
Playing rock and roll music,
dumping hops.
Yeah, dropping beats, dumping hops. So let's see how this is.
Yeah,
I'm excited. Nordic stout. That's gonna be thick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Thick, I don't know if I'll get through this whole beer.
That's like a turkey dinner,
like eating bread.
It smells yeasty.
It's the first beer I've had in a while. Smooth.
It's all right for a stout. It's fairly drinkable.
That's how I would describe it. As far as stouts go, this is actually pretty good.
Pretty drinkable.
For sure. Wake Brewing is the cauldron of artistic brews from the brothers Paris, Jason and Justin, featuring daring ales that will walk the high wire and appeal to the eyes as well as the palate, and immaculate composed classic styles where simplicity leaves nothing to hide behind. Our creations challenge your conception of what beer should be. That's pretty
Bold statement.
yeah, pretty heavy on there. But yeah, this is a pretty good beer.
No, I was not expecting it to be that good.
Yeah,
At all,
for
dude.
being a stout.
Yeah.
oh for sure.
And I don't really taste the bitter, but I've had the brain sweats. So I don't know. Is it bitter?
I don't think it's bitter. It's got a little bit of an aftertaste.
Yeah, that stout kind of.
Yeah, that bite in the back.
Yeah, like you get with the darker beers.
Yeah, so you probably can't taste your micro brew soapy aftertaste or whatever it is, waxy aftertaste.
Well, that's usually not with the stout. It's usually with the IPA.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well, and you know what? It might
Just
be
Bent
the beer,
River
yeah.
beer, though, right?
Maybe, I don't know.
No, I don't know. The last time we had this, or
Do you know what he's talking about?
No.
Oh.
Wake Brew, it was that orange one, and that
Yeah.
one really didn't have that aftertaste.
Yeah.
It's bad, but it was like extra orangey.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it was so flavorful.
Yeah.
But yeah, these guys have been going all over the place with their beer, up to Chicago a lot, to a bunch of festivals. I think they were at Knotfest, actually.
Yeah.
That's kind of a big deal around here for metal fans.
I haven't been in there, but do they have like awards and stuff?
No, but they got like a bunch of trinkets and stuff. They're like the guys that are there are loved by the underground music community. So they had like, there's a photographer from the area who they're really good friends with. He does like crazy pictures. He took pictures of Elvis Presley's pistols.
It's not what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, it took me a second too.
but like he's actually like a crazy good photographer. He gets a lot of opportunities and stuff, and like he's got some art on the walls, and a lot of artists donate stuff to him.
Okay.
But I don't know if they have necessarily any awards in the building, and the building's pretty cool. It's got a great patio area. They just blocked it off and put even more out. They always have food trucks.
Yeah.
Floyd's Burgers is one that frequents there a lot.
Oh.
Smash Pizza.
Man. It's
Yeah. But they're always doing great stuff. It slows down a little during the winter, but
How's the parking down there though?
it's not bad. They have their own parking lot.
They do.
It's it's like a 50-50 dirt gravel mix. But
Yeah.
it's like right behind the building if you take that bend around there. So it's not usually terribly bad.
Okay.
If you go down for an event, you'll probably have to park. And really, you just park in the QCCA parking lot and walk across the busy street.
Yeah, I could see that. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, what a good beer.
Yeah, dude.
I
good
was
choice.
trying to find this. It's called a Krumpnik. And there's a distillery in town that makes it. Cat's Eye Distillery. Couldn't find anywhere to buy this Krumpnik. It's like somewhere between like a vodka and a rum gin thing, and it's just like if you were to take a pumpkin pie, all the seasonings from like a pumpkin pie or like a stuffing or something, and put them into a liquor, and it's really good. It's like super drinkable. But
Is it the stuffing or the pie? Which seasonings?
well, it's like everything. It's got everything for like nutmeg, allspice.
So it's like a whole like Thanksgiving dinner in a
Yeah,
glass.
Yeah, that'll get
Okay.
you ripped up.
Fuck.
Awesome.
And I'd never heard of it until I had this that liquor from around here. But I think this is a pretty good second.
Yeah, this Krampus blood.
Are we
Yeah.
allowed to curse on here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Say whatever you say.
I'm not sure.
I didn't know. I was like, I said fuck. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I'll fix it in post.
Yeah. Edit that out.
No, leave it in. That'll be a throw to our couple episodes coming next year. What do you think, Dave? You want to rate this one?
For a stout, I would 4.7.
Yeah.
Throw it out there. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Justin?
What do you?
I got a 5.
Yeah.
Usually. Like.
Yeah. It's actually out of 20. Dave just gave it a really bad.
I was gonna say. I mean, for a stout, I'd say it's 5 out of 5.
Wow.
It's
What a newbie.
Have you guys not given anything a 5 yet?
No,
What?
you can't. You can't go better.
Yeah, it was a perfect stout.
Yeah.
I mean,
But hey, that's your
beer
pick.
for a
Yeah.
stout. I think
Dude, we're not gonna say your rating is not accurate.
4.99.
There you go. All right.
Does that work?
I'd probably give it. Dang, I want to give it a 4 out of 5, but I want to go higher, or a 4.5 out of 5.
4.5.
And I want to go higher, but I'm gonna leave it at a 4.5, which is a good beer.
What's the highest rating you've given a beer?
I think we gave one like a 4.7.
Or like a 4.8. Yeah, around there. Maybe it was the other Wake Brew we had.
I mean, that was pretty flavorful. I was thinking that one I got in Bellevue.
Yeah,
that river
that
one.
one was probably the best one.
Yeah, it was super good. The podcast today, Meat and Potatoes, Mind Control.
Yes, with all this consumerism that's going on, going into the
Black
holiday
Friday
season.
I think this is going to be one that when we did Montauk, I felt like eventually we're going to break down little bits and pieces of that whole podcast. I think this is going to be another one too, where we're going to cover so many things that I think can be whittled down further later.
Or get expanded on.
Yeah, for sure.
MK Ultra was 150 human experiments between 1953 and 1964 before it was officially disbanded or discredited in 1973. And it all started with Operation Midnight Climax.
Midnight Climax, nice.
Yeah, which was
I too like to climax, preferably at midnight.
It was started by George White, which was a CIA agent, and he pretty much set up brothels in San Francisco and got a bunch of whiskey, couple cartons of cigarettes, set up like a one-way, two-way mirror, whatever it's called, and then just started getting prostitutes to go out and get Johns, bring them in, and then secretly dose them with LSD, and he would just sit there and smoke cigarettes and watch what would happen.
Yeah, and drink cocktails and sit on a toilet.
Yeah,
you don't want to miss any action, man.
No, dude.
Right, he did have his own bathroom in there.
Yeah, you have important government research you need to do, dude.
Yeah, I wonder if he had one of those cushions on it.
Oh, God, those are so nice. I miss going to my grandparents' house for that.
What do you think the conversations went? The guy came up with that idea and presented it to somebody.
Definitely how can we put people so far at ease to be able to manipulate the whole experience? Because if you're getting a prostitute, you're not gonna expect the government to be involved in it because it's illegal, right? And then if you get a prostitute, that's kind of like a far-fetched scenario, you know. I guess I don't know if these guys have been getting prostitutes all the time, but it's like probably some sort of dance. You know, when you're a kid and you used to buy drugs, you know, you're like, could I pick that thing up?
So you don't buy drugs as an adult?
No, I don't buy drugs. Well, arguably,
oh yeah, you walk into the pharmacist and you're like, can I have drugs?
That's what it is now in Illinois, at least.
I think maybe it was more because back then in the 50s they didn't really know what LSD was or what it could do,
right?
And so then they just wanted to dose pretty much the lowest common denominator, because if you come out, you're like, I just bought a prostitute, and all of a sudden you're seeing leprechauns and geometric shapes and shit, and then you come out of it and you're like, whoa, and they kick you outside and send you on your way. You're not gonna go tell the authorities that, hey, I bought a prostitute and then something strange happened. So they could
something strange happened.
Yeah. So they could kind of get away with just dosing people and then watching to see what happened, or watching weird freaky sex go on.
Imagine being that John and just be like, dude, I don't know what happened, but I need to find her again.
I actually looked up some MK Ultra stuff. I found a bunch of stuff from Montreal, Canada.
Okay.
And there was Dr. Ewan Cameron, who was present at the Nuremberg trials, and what the Nazis were doing is they were doing a lot of psychological things to the Jews as well, and that was one thing that they brought to the U.S. and Russia when they had all those trials after World War II.
Yeah, like Operation Paperclip and all that.
Yeah. And so Dr. Ewan Cameron, I believe, was the one who was overarching for experiments in Canada. And what they were doing there was they did more than 50 patients at the Allen Memorial Institute. It's a college, and they had a pretty predominant psychiatric care facility in the late 50s. They were doing mind control experiments. They were doing sensory deprivation, prolonged sleep, like comatose induced stuff, and then excessive electroshock therapy. So in the 50s, it was starting to become less common to do electroshock therapy. That was more common in the 1800s, I believe. And but they were doing it like shocking you pretty heavily every minute for however long they wanted to. Also, the prolonged sleep, they would generally have audio recordings playing. So it'd be like whispers and telling you to do stuff or think things, or what do you do? And like, I think it was a lot of psychological stuff too.
Yeah.
Like kind of breaking down your psyche. There was a Lou Weinstein who was a businessman, and he started to get kind of depressed. Well, when he went in, he was one of the people who was experimented on. By the time he got out, like his friends and family didn't know who he was, or like they didn't really see that old person in him. So there's a Dr. Harvey Weinstein who went to the college, the Allen Institute, and he's devoted his life to helping the lawyers sue the American government for all this stuff.
Oh, so the American government was messing with students in Canada?
Yes.
Interesting.
Sort of wish they just would have dropped LSD all over the place.
Yeah.
Just to see what would have actually happened.
Well, that was kind of a big blowback for America, and it sounds like they didn't take it to Canada. And when they kind of had all these ideas for using LSD as a truth serum or a mind control agent, the America went out and bought it all. They bought 10 kilograms of LSD.
Holy shit.
Which was like, at the time, it was enough to dose everybody in the United States like 10 times or something.
Yeah, dude. Like, you're talking micrograms when you're talking doses.
Yeah. And so they bought it all up. So as they were doing these experiments, they were introducing LSD to the mainstream population. And one of the biggest blowbacks was that like LSD opens your mind and kind of makes you against authority. And they kind of blame these experiments on they kind of blame these experiments for like the hippy dippy,
the counterculture.
Yeah.
Because Ken Casey, the author of The Demon Box and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, when he was in Stanford in 1962, he actually volunteered for some experiments and where they dosed students with LSD, and then he began doing his own, like he called it acid tests, or like the electric Kool-Aid acid tests, where he would like get bands to come in and he'd get like LSD from these instructors or whatever, and then dose the kids. And then he ended up starting the Merry Band of Pranksters, and they drove around in a big psychedelic bus called the Further, and just like drove around America, like spreading the joys of like LSD and stuff, all because of this experiment that they did to him when he was in Stanford. He's like, "This is great, man. Gotta share this with everybody."
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and they also say Allen Ginsberg was also took part in these experiments, and he was a big part of the beat culture, like the precursor to the hippie movement. And yeah, it kind of shows how they kind of like some of it backfired into a counterculture.
Isn't it like well known that Charles Manson was a part of MK Ultra? Or is it just like alleged?
I'm not sure. I didn't get that far.
According to Tom O'Neill in his book Chaos, he got a bunch of like FOIA,
the Freedom of Information Act.
Yeah, and got a bunch of information about how when Manson was in prison, he might have been part of like a CIA thing where they were messing with inmates, because then once he got out, he was supposed to do parole in LA, but then he just went up to San Francisco and was like, I want a parole officer up here. And at first they were like, no, you can't do that. You got to stay in LA. And then all of a sudden, somehow they're just like, oh, hey, you have a parole officer. And this parole officer was this guy that was working at the Hyatt Ashbury Free Clinic. Roger Smith ended up being his parole officer, but he was also running these experiments out of this clinic where they were dosing all the counterculture kids in San Francisco. And it also happens that Manson was kind of like an introvert and not really like that outgoing, but then all of a sudden, like, he starts being a pimp. He's got all these girls that he's bringing to the clinic to get like STD tests and pregnancy tests, and starts becoming like this charismatic cult leader, you know? So it's kind of interesting how that kind of played out.
Talk about backfiring.
Yeah, for real. Well, they also, at Harvard, it was not necessarily like LSD, but it was a CIA experiment where they got like 20 kids and they had them. They told them they were going to do a 3-year study where they had to do this thesis on their ideas of life, and like they would have to like defend their theory against other students and their theory on life, and like so they were like trying to make these solid arguments. And actually what happened is when they would go in to make these arguments, they would put electrodes all over their head and put them in this chair facing like a two-way mirror and have this huge like stage spotlight just shine on them. And then they would have to debate against a law professor instead of another student. And then the law professor, his job was just to rip apart their theory, like be relentless. The Henry Murray was the guy who did the study. And he said it was like vehement, sweeping, and personally abusive attacks that this guy would just do on him. And one of the students was a 16-year-old who was like super smart. And he had a 167 IQ, got into Harvard at 16, and then had to like have his theories of life just destroyed. And this kid's name was Ted Kaczynski. And after doing these experiments, he's ended up being the Unabomber.
That's what I thought he was. Yeah, that's crazy.
And from 78 to 95, he just like would bomb places and really hated technology and thought it was the downfall of the human race. And he learned his manifesto that he ended up writing at this experiment at Harvard that was conducted by the CIA.
I mean, he might not be wrong.
Do you agree with him?
I'm not going to say on a podcast that I agree with the Unabomber.
That technology is bad. No.
It's not all good. You'd say that, right?
For sure.
Definitely not all good. Well, speaking of technology, I got kind of into a little rabbit hole of new technology called DARPA. Oh. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. They're responsible for like the overarching web that is the internet now. Like they kind of finalized all of the biggest details on it. They were the first to create self-driving cars, stealth technology, and pocket GPS. I believe that they are the people that create technology for like the military, and it eventually gets out to, the private sector.
Yeah, usually most advanced technology is military applications, and then gets trickled down.
You put 2 AA batteries in it and sell it on the market.
Right.
So they are working on next generation non-surgical neurotechnology. So one of their biggest budgets right now is for using the human brain to directly interface with machines, i.e. controlling robots or flying drones. Some future uses of this could be like you wear, a crown on your head and you can have like a more automated robotic arm if you lose an arm or a leg. It can more closely replicate what the human body can do. Or other things for handicapped people, if you can't get around and you need some food, a robot can maybe come bring it to you, stuff like that. In 1965 to 1969, they did the Project Pandora, which was using micro radiation to control humans.
Micro radiation?
Yeah. I didn't go too far into that subject, but that ended up, I don't know if it didn't work or if it got canceled because it was too close to manipulating human beings. But a lot of people think now that if you can get people's brains to control robots, you can then reverse engineer that to send things to control people's brains. And they're also working with CRISPR to change brain cells and stuff like that.
Okay.
So they got, who knows what they have for military application, but that's fucking Marvel super soldier shit, you know what I mean?
Kind of, yeah, especially with like the exoskeletons and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty crazy. The government's just all over trying to control people, right?
Can't stop them, man.
So that's what I found on DARPA, like a lot of what they're doing right now.
DARPA. Is that like what we did remote viewing? Was that DARPA?
Oh, I bet it was.
It was part of that.
I bet it was. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. I'd have to do the research, but I bet they're one of the people that was doing stuff like that.
Have you heard of this thing that Coors Light, I think, or Coors in general, the banquet beer, had been doing? Where they got volunteers to watch like a 5-minute video.
Yeah.
And right before they went to bed. And then when they went to bed, they would play like this playlist that they had while they slept. And they were trying to see if they could encourage them to drink more Coors.
Yeah.
And this association of psychiatrists actually got together and like asked them to please stop.
Yeah.
Because they were afraid of the implications that if it actually worked, like what would actually, like how it could be used. And they were saying, well, they have to voluntarily watch, the video, but if you embed it or if you put it like in an ad before like a YouTube video, and then if you have like an Alexa or whatever the hell they're called, and it listens to you. If it hears you start snoring, then it starts playing this thing. Maybe other, companies can get you to start buying their shit because Alexa is helping them brainwash you at night.
Yeah, let's try this. Alexa, play Blue Ribbon Lounge podcast. See if that does anything.
See that word? Everybody's Alexa start going off.
Yeah.
Hey Siri. Hey Siri.
Buy cream corn.
Didn't work.
Do you use your Siri?
Yeah.
Dude, I turn all that shit off on my phone. My kid uses
it's fun.
it all. I hate it.
That's definitely having a wiretap with you at all times.
What are you afraid of, Dave?
the government.
What
Yeah.
are you doing?
We're afraid of the people that we're dosing people with LSD.
Yeah, but it's like, are you guys trying to like stage a coup or something?
No, we're just trying to open minds. That's why we're deep beneath the Earth's crust.
Right.
Yes, we
In
keep
this
it dangerous.
lead-based underground bunker.
Do you not notice the tinfoil hat?
I guess I missed that. I missed that on the way in.
I heard a bunch of stuff about what is that? Subliminal messages.
Okay.
So subliminal messages below the threshold of sensory and conscious perception.
They're not sublime messages.
But they would potentially be affecting somebody's mind without being aware of it. It is currently not illegal in the US to have subliminal messages.
What about direct messages, dude?
DMs?
No, like it's like
Hey, speaking of DMs, if you want to get a hold of the Blue Ribbon Lounge podcast, feel free to email us at Blue Ribbon Lounge Moline. That beer is heavy. Blue Ribbon Lounge Moline at gmail.com. Or you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Matt Nicky. Anyways, what were you saying?
what was I
Direct
saying?
messaging.
Oh, so it's like the way that they. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's instead of just like subliminal is like seems to be like a popular term in culture. You know what I mean? But it's like the way they. Not necessarily like group people, but like the entire scenes of movies and stuff. You know what I mean? Kind of like shape what you think the world should be.
Oh, okay. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
So, like, in every movie, if there's a good guy, he's white.
Right,
If there's
exactly.
a bad gangster, he's black.
Exactly. When you say drug dealer, it's like, oh, you just think of, some black guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's because that's the way we've been programmed directly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that that kind of stuff happens all the time. And actually, damn, what was I just listening? It was the last couple of things that I was hitting before we came over here. But it was like,
Wasn't that almost like stereotyping? But like in a direct way.
Right.
And so then you think you're stereotyping, but yet that's how it shows it to
You've
you
been-
in media. That's
Exactly.
what you've been
It
bombarded
reinforces it more or less,
Correct.
right?
with. Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, that's kind of like Italian Americans. Some of you watch like The Sopranos or The Godfather, and all of a sudden you're like, "Hey, yeah, I'm from fucking New York." Like, no, you're just Italian. Dude.
It's kind of wild how much movies form your ideas.
oh, what it was I just heard that like the government and Nixon was president during like the Vietnam War.
Yes.
And all those, and maybe not, but he was president during like a shitty war, Korea or Vietnam or something like that.
Vietnam.
Dave's nodding his head. I trust Dave. But it was Alex Ruins Everything. I heard this on
Adam Ruins Everything.
Adam Ruins Everything.
Yeah,
that
I like
guy.
that show.
But so they had all these hippies and minorities speaking out against doing these war crimes and fighting this war we shouldn't be in, killing our guys, killing their guys. And so that's one of the biggest reasons why marijuana is illegal and why they introduced like crack into the black community, so that they would be because marijuana wasn't illegal for a long time, and so people would not listen to hippies and not listen to minorities because they were scary and drug dealing and drug doing, and they like slandered what they.
Yeah, well, that was part of that when LSD started to become illegal. Weed became illegal before that from William Randolph Hearst, because he saw that actually he was a newspaper guy and owned like forest in paper mills, and then saw that hemp was a viable option to replace paper, and so then he started making slander and said that the black community used it, and it was from those lazy Mexicans. Yes, that's quite marijuana. Like, yeah, and then crack actually came in because we wanted to control South America and their natural resources, but because of Reagan and the Iran-Contra issue where he got caught selling guns to terrorists and saying, we don't sell guns to terrorists. And he's like, oh, wait, we did. And so then, like, American people were like, we can't sell guns to those people, even though whatever, they're going to let us steal their oil. So then he's like, so since we can't directly give you money, we'll let you sell your drugs in our slums. And that's when cocaine came in, especially crack cocaine, and then they sold it to the black community. And then that's when all that crack and shit started happening, and people started killing each other because you could make quick, easy money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking the government.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The craziest part of that is that they had different sentences for crack cocaine versus powder cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same.
And that's a way to keep segregation too, because
That's racism.
That is racism.
Kind of got off track.
Sorry,
but that's okay.
messages.
Anyway.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that's all right though. So I went down that whole advertising loophole too. So in the 1950s, there was a movie theater in New Jersey. A man had put into a movie and flashed subliminally popcorn and Coke messages, and he claimed that afterwards he had like a 70% increase in popcorn and Coke sales for that showing, and it like blew up. Advertisers were like looking into it, and all the companies were going crazy about it. Turns out the guy lied on all the numbers and stuff, so it wasn't true.
There was the Btk Killer. I don't know if you saw that one, but during one of the news like interviews or like reports about it, they did a flash of a pair of glasses and it said "Call the Chief," and they were trying to see if the killer was watching, maybe it would trick his subconscious to turn himself in, because at one of the killings they found a set of glasses, so they thought it would trick him into being like paranoid and just turn himself in. It didn't work.
Yeah. One of the other ones that I found was at 2 Target stores. They had like the same amount of thefts on average. One Target store, they installed speakers that would say like "Don't steal" type messages on them, and thefts ended up going down. And when they were doing the research, they kind of found out that like who steals from stores, potentially employees. Now all these employees know that they're doing stuff to stop it. If the store's getting stolen from, maybe the employees watch the customers a little bit harder, things like that. So it wasn't necessarily proven to be true. And generally, for the most part, subliminal messages are kind of found not to work.
Yeah, even though it seems that Disney tries to make everybody perverts nowadays.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of those.
In the 90s.
I knew of two of them, the Lion King and the Little Mermaid.
The VHS cover.
No.
Oh, there's a different one.
The Little Mermaid one that I always thought was like the guy on the boat. The guy on the boat supposedly has a boner when
preacher.
Yeah. When he's marrying him.
Yeah, they say that it's supposed to be his knees, but
it's definitely not his knees.
Right. But also on the VHS cover for The Little Mermaid, one of the castles looks like a dildo.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's like right there, prominent in the front.
And then
I have not seen this.
and then on
I'll have to look at this
You have to
later.
check that out.
I'm sure you can find a video that has them all in there. And then on The Lion King, there's a part with like a smoke cloud, a smoke plume.
Yeah, like it's like a pollen. He like flops down and like pollen kicks up or something.
And it's supposed to spell out sex.
Yeah. And then
Classic.
in Aladdin,
Classic.
when he first goes to see Jasmine right before they do the whole like magic carpet ride.
Yeah. I can show you the world. I don't know if that's it or not.
Yeah, but he's on the balcony and the lion's there. And supposedly it says, "Down, kitty, go, shush." But it's like very barely audible. And if you crank it up, it says, "All good teenagers take off their clothes."
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, I used to watch that movie all the time. That's why I got a kid now.
Nice.
Guaranteed.
Probably.
It worked.
Fucking Disney.
Yeah.
worked.
Also in the movie The Rescuers, an old ass
Ooh,
movie.
that's classic. One of my faves.
They're these mice are in this
The Rescuers is who the mice are.
Yeah.
If you didn't know.
No, I've never seen this or heard of this
Oh,
movie.
we'll watch it later, dude. Don't
they're
worry.
in a sardine can on the back of a seagull flying through the city, and they like buzz by this building real quick, and then one of the scenes is like a part of like a porno in the window as they fly by.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's like super quick. I guess if you go frame by frame, there's like a lady like showing her boobies.
Wouldn't say tits, said boobies.
Boobies. Well, it's a Disney movie, you know?
Yeah, you got to keep it clean.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you saw this. Elon Musk said that he was going to make a Texas Institute of Technology and Science. Tits.
Oh.
He said that after they came up with that University of Austin, Texas. That just came out, but as an aside.
Yeah,
That's funny.
that guy. Well, he's the guy who wants to set up Neuralink, which then you just plug your phone right into your brain. That just seems like a bad idea.
It seems
the
like a really
Matrix.
good idea to me.
What? Get out of here.
Well, think about it. How else are you going to alter this, like the human psyche? Because ultimately, the human mind is what is holding humans back, right?
I mean, it's
What do you like?
it's both.
Limited by your own imagination?
Limited by your own like human greed, like
Greed,
Biases.
depression type stuff,
right.
failures.
So if you can jack in and correct all that, and not like know if somebody's lying or not,
That sounds like a CRISPR thing.
they'll probably genetically modify you.
They'll make it-
so you can
Have
grow a fucking plug.
Like on what's that movie? Avatar.
Yeah, dude. Exactly.
Avatar.
Yeah, they get
Exactly.
the,
I
they have
don't
the
know.
ponytails that plug into the
That's
horses.
like
Oh, I forgot about that, dude.
Chuck Palahniuk book, Rant,
Okay.
where people have like an plug-in, and you can plug in and like record yourself, and then like play it back. But it also like talks about how you get commercials, but when you're unplugged, you're not supposed to get them. But yet people are like, sometimes when I walk close to the connection, my shit itches and I feel like a Coke. Like,
Dang, what was I gonna say?
but yeah, like I have an update that I haven't updated sitting on my phone, or like you're just watching a video and then a commercial comes out. Like you're just gonna be walking and all of a sudden you're gonna be like, oh, bombarded by, because you're walking by McDonald's, you're gonna get a fucking McDonald's ad straight into your brain.
I think that we're getting dangerously close with this meta universe thing.
The metaverse.
The metaverse, yeah. With if you don't know, Facebook's launching like a virtual reality.
It's Facebook is now known as Meta.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I call it Facebook. So,
They still have Facebook though.
but it makes me think too much of Ready Player One. If you've ever seen that or read the book,
Yeah, that's kind of what they were kind of saying. Like,
Yeah.
instead of going to a website, you would go to like a hangout.
mm-hmm. And it's like, to me, you're just getting more and more stretched out from reality.
I don't know, dude. It makes perfect sense. I don't know if you guys have ever played a lot of Xbox, but my group of friends will go on Xbox Live and they have a group chat, right? So they'll just sit in the group chat. They're not playing video games with each other. They're just sitting there watching TV in a group chat together, talking to each
Hanging
other.
out.
That is phone.
That's what the metaverse is going to be. And I think it's going to work.
I could see that because then if you have the thing on, then you can look over and actually see your friend sitting there.
Right.
And be like,
I can look over, flip you the bird, and you can see it. I think it's going to work.
I mean, it's understandable if your friends are spread out across the country. It's nice to have because it's kind of like what Facebook is.
Also, make in-person friends. You wouldn't have any of these friends if it wasn't for fucking 5th grade or whatever, you know?
3rd grade.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you're saying,
but dude,
people
imagine
to your
if you
house?
get married, you have kids, dude. You're locked at home, dude.
I just think it's a slippery slope between greed and depression, and those two things are gonna intertwine in themselves like some sort of rat king, and people are they're just gonna stop showering. They're gonna only eat like shit. They're not gonna walk to their car to go to the work. Like you just sit in the meta. You get the cheapest. And everybody just like pools to get fucking lazy boy chairs, plug in, and you can have 20 chairs in a 1-bedroom apartment, and you just fucking sleep in these chairs, and everybody's getting
like
fucking free tax dollars and from unemployment or something, or EBT, and you're just everybody's barely skimming to survive, but they're all loving this meta bullshit.
You would have to still do work, but you would plug in to like do virtual work.
Like, yeah. You would have to learn how the sets work to be able to troubleshoot for the guy next to you. He'd call in, get routed to you, and you'd be like, did you try unplugging it and plugging it back in?
Or maybe
try blowing on it.
AI becomes viable where you can actually like plug in and there's like a robot sitting at your desk at work, and then you're controlling it with your mind through VR.
Fucking DARPA.
There you go. Yeah. And so then you can just do your work from home, but actually at the factory there's a robot. The robot you is walking around. Like,
I don't see anything wrong with this.
Not
stay at home.
I think it's a moral slippery slope.
Gotcha.
We're taking humanity out of humans by doing this stuff.
Right.
Isn't that like what technology kind of does?
That's exactly what it's saying. Technology takes the humanity away from humans.
That's why Dave doesn't have the fucking latest update for his Galaxy 2.
It's the cheapest T-Mobile phone I can get.
And it's probably cracked all over on the screen.
Hey, yes. And there's tape over the camera, so covered.
Is that so they can't see you?
Well, just the selfie. I'll take a picture, but the selfie camera has tape over it.
Oh.
Yeah. So they can see all you. They're not.
Oh, thanks a lot throwing us under the bus.
Yeah.
Jeez, Dave. Man.
Anyways, subliminal messages. I did find a bunch of stuff. The only one I can remember off the top of my head, maybe I can remember a couple more, but they aren't subliminal because you can see them. But like when you take your logo, a company's logo, and put like what you want people to do with it within it. Like the next time you see the Tostitos logo,
I was just thinking of that one.
The Tostito, T-I-T, tit, is two people and a salsa bowl, sharing a salsa bowl.
Yeah.
And then there's
Wendy's. Have you seen the Wendy's one where the girl, if you look at her collar, it says mom.
Yeah.
So to like subliminally be like, hey, this is like mom's home cooking.
Yeah.
Wendy's is mom.
Stuff like that.
That's weird, bro. That's real weird.
Those are kind of interesting to me.
for the most part. Was that Baskin Robbins also has that 42 or
Oh
in
yeah,
their
like
the
the
label somehow?
31.
Is it 31?
The BR, the
The-
B is like a backwards. No, it's a correct way 3.
yes.
and
And then
the R, the post on the R is separated.
yeah, they like change the colors or
Yeah.
something on it.
Yeah.
But there was also, I guess, when Iron Chef America first came out, McDonald's and the Food Network got in trouble. Of course, they got thrown out of court, but they actually got sued because I guess during the first whatever episode, or there was a really quick like big bloop of like a McDonald's logo because they figured like, oh, chefs and people are gonna be hungry. Let's throw up at McDonald's, see what happens.
That's crazy.
Of course, they denied it, but it also just got thrown out because they didn't see any like spike in McDonald's sales.
Because subliminally, it doesn't work.
I don't know. I'm pretty hungry every time I watch a cooking show.
I think that's
But
for
that's
a
the
different reason.
direct.
Oh, fair.
My kid is all into whenever we go to Hy-Vee, there's cooking shows on, and he just like loves watching them for some reason. I'm like, well, fuck, if you want to cook, you
Hey.
can cook at home.
It's a skill, man.
I did kind of go. I was interested in how the idea of mind control and brainwashing like kind of came about. And what I found was it started off with hypnosis and like mesmerism, like mesmerizing. The 2 albums from
System of a Down.
yes,
Yeah. Hypnotize and mesmerize.
yeah. And this is going to kind of swing out before it hits home, but Dr. Franz Anton Mesmer was an Austrian physician in the mid-18th century. He believed strongly in the effects of astronomy and magnetism on humans, and he called this animal magnetism. He believed that he was discovering some unknown magnetic liquids in bodies in pathways that hadn't been quite discovered yet. And so he would try to he would find ways to cure people by like touching them in ways or like putting them next to magnets and stuff. But what they kind of thought, what was eventually proven was that all of the ways in which people were being cured were from their own mind, and
Like placebo effect.
Yes, and
Okay.
his ideas were completely bunk. So that in turn got a lot of people thinking on how to use the mind to cure people. Marquis de Saint-Cyr, he used effects of what he would then call mesmerism. He used these to cure toothaches and body pains and even depressive moods. So he would kind of hypnotize people. Some people would go into a trance. Some people would just kind of slowly start to feel it dissipate. Mesmerism started getting widely more studied. It was not widely accepted. So people weren't publishing their studies. And then by the mid-19th century, in rural Scotland, a fella by the name of James Braid, he coined the term hypnotism. And that's when it started booming a little bit more and becoming more popular. In the 1890s in France, there was 2 guys, Hippolyte Bernheim, who studied a lot of confabulation and false memories. He learned that you can implant false memories into people and get them to believe that it happened.
Like through hypnosis.
Yeah. He would hypnotize people and then give them a situation that happened, and they would eventually wake up and believe it. A guy he worked with, Ambus Leopold, he studied repetitive suggestions, and I thought those two things in itself really reminded me of the things that I had read about some of the MK Ultra experiments in Canada.
Okay.
And I just thought that was a crazy full circle thing.
Yeah. Is that like saying things in threes?
Yeah, and like things while you're sleeping.
Yeah. It also kind of reminds me a little bit something we can maybe expound on later, but like UFO sightings and using hypnosis for like regressive memories, and how a lot of that is kind of like the doctor, whoever hypnotizes the person, pulling the memory out of them, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, like you said, they can implant memories or just like make them agree or kind of embellish on whatever idea that they thought happened, not necessarily what truly happened.
Yeah, and I did read a lot of things that like some of the earliest forms of mind control were like, say you got caught in the wrong place at the wrong time in medieval times, and you know, who stole this bread, they torch you for 20 hours and get a confession out of you. Still do that kind of stuff in Guantanamo and shit like that.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. But I mean, I think that's kind of a perception of controlling the mind.
Yeah, there are a lot of coerced confessions that they've come out or been overthrown later on. Be like, well, yeah, you had a 15-year-old kid in there for 24 hours. He's eventually just going to say what you want him to.
Yeah.
So that he can go home, but then he ends up getting arrested and going to jail for life.
That's how you make a murder.
Yeah.
Have either of you guys ever been hypnotized?
No, I haven't. I've always wanted to be.
I've not.
Have you?
No, I haven't either.
Oh.
That's why I'm curious about it.
Yeah, I've always wanted to try to be hypnotized. I'm like a huge fan of magic, and I always hear of people going to shows, not Magic the Gathering.
That's what I was about to say.
Magic, like
break out the decks right now.
Illusions.
Oh,
but I've always heard of people going to shows like that, and like a hypnotist gets on stage and makes somebody walk like a duck and look like a complete fool.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to see something like that.
I knew somebody got hypnotized, and he said it's more like you're willing to do what they say, like you're on
open to suggestion type of deal.
You're on board with it. You're like, yes, I will be a chicken. That sounds great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that you're like sleeping and don't remember the whole thing.
Right. It's more like you kind of like want to help them out to do their thing. That's why I guess they say it's like quote unquote weak-willed people. Because if you're stubborn, you're going to be like, it's not going to. But if you're like, I'm going to go with it, and then you kind of like are more open to suggestion and like kind of go with it. But then he also was hypnotized for like a drunk driving scenario. And then he said it kind of sucked because then he told like the other 4 people that were like sitting in a pretend car that they were dead. And he was like, hey, you just killed him. And he was like, started crying and shit, and he was like, it wasn't fun.
They hypnotized him and like gave him trauma or something. Like
pretty much.
Damn.
Because they wanted to show what it was like, and
probably went to a public school.
It was
the government
actually
for
in the
you.
military.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yes.
Where does one go to learn how to hypnotize people?
That's got to be like a trade, right?
www.blueribbonlounge.com.
Check it out.
Check it out. We'll sell you some stickers that will.
Yeah. Stickers.
You just lick the backside and you're hypnotized.
Yes.
Quote,
and then you'll
unquote.
give out all your government secrets.
Give out the government secrets.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I had a lot of stuff here, and I think I burned through all of it, though.
I thought I had a lot more. I guess.
I know you guys have a lot of writing. You got a thick notebook, and
I did have some more stuff on like consumerism and stuff. I don't know if it's necessarily
white supremacist capitalism, Matthew. No, okay. Sorry.
I don't know if it's necessarily mind control, but I got some stuff about like iPhones.
Oh,
if
definitely mind control.
I'm definitely not brainwashed.
So, well, we'll start at the beginning, and that is Henry.
I feel like people with iPhones are more brainwashed.
Oh, they're
than
for
No
sure
way,
more
dude.
brainwashed.
with people with the Android.
Dude, that's what a brainwashed dude would
Dude,
say.
if you don't have something Apple, you're a fucking loser, dude. Oh, is that brainwashing? Oh, sorry.
I got two more things actually. You guys want to hear about capitalism or cults?
Let's go capitalism.
Okay. So Henry Ford built the Model T in the early 1900s. He wanted it to be like a workhorse. He wanted it to be a tool. And he wanted people to get one, not need another one, and change the world like that. By 1921, everybody who had a Model T, who could afford a Model T, had a Model T. So sales were dropping. Then DuPont Paint Company bought Ford, and they started just like kind of manipulating the market, not like directly controlling people, but so Henry Ford said you could have a Model T in any color you want as long as it's
black.
Yeah. So DuPont bought it. They came out with red, white, blue. So they would change the color. They changed the color, and now, I got this dumbass black car. I want one of these limited edition yellow cars. And then all of a sudden, new styles, new body styles. Some had AM radios, some had FM radios. These slowly tweaking these tiny technological changes, visual changes, the latest and greatest type of thinking. And now it's so rampant in the car industry that
Right.
you need a new car every 2 years.
It's like, look at trucks when they went I don't remember when it was, in like 90 something, when they didn't have 4-door trucks. They had the cab and a half.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden somebody was like, dude, 4 full doors. You know what I mean?
And they had to have said that.
That's what I mean. Years ago, they're like, dude, we're gonna milk these guys for these half cabs as long as we can.
Yeah. 4 full doors.
Right.
Genius, dude.
Well, that's what do they call that? The built-in obsolescence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about with the iPhone. So this guy, Casey Neistat, discovered what's called the Ipod Conspiracy. The original iPods, batteries were sealed into the iPods. So when it died, you'd have to send it in for repair.
Yeah.
And to get it repaired, they charge you $255. And for that much money, you could get a brand new iPod. I don't know if it was less than that or about the same price or just under the price of an iPod. But the battery would die. You don't want to change it. You want to get a new one.
Right. And the dealer is going to be like, you can send it in, fix it, or you can get this brand new one.
Right.
It's got an extra 0.5 gig or whatever.
Yeah. And then it happened to a bunch of stuff all the way to like in 2017, iPhones. So that was making the iPod useless. In 2017, Apple started doing updates when your phone would get old, and it would start slowing the phone down.
Yes.
And they guised it as protecting and prolonging the battery life.
Right. But really, they were just telling your phone to not work or say that the battery ran out when you still had battery life.
Well, it slowed it way down too, is what they did.
Yeah.
It slowed the processor down. Yeah, I experienced that a little bit.
That's why I never do updates. 'Cause once you do, your phone starts sucking, and then you're like, guess I gotta buy another one.
So during the Great Depression, there was a concept proposed by Bernard London, for many things to have expiration or death dates so that people would have to turn them in. And this was to go along with that Model T downtick in sales. You know, once sales starts going down, you don't need as many people. You don't need the machines you have aren't getting paid off, so you're losing and your debt's accruing. And so they would have death dates on stuff like shoes and even like machines and homes, so that once it got to a certain point, people were guaranteed a job so that they didn't, to get you out of the Great Depression, essentially.
Right.
But that's kind of like a revolving door where you got to spend money to make money. And
Man, technology.
Yeah,
Bad
like-
for humans.
Well, it's
per the Unabomber.
for Ted Kaczynski.
Hey, dude,
Theodore Kaczynski.
I think he was onto something. That's all I'm saying.
He had some wild ideas outside of that too, but
It's kind of like Magnus Freeborn, dude. It's like
dude, we're gonna get him down here.
we need to, honestly.
And this type of thing happened with nylon stockings as well. So the original nylon stockings were so strong. First of all, it caused riots for women to get these because, you know, you can only make so many. You start putting them on shelves and you can only sell so many at a time. That causing riots. Women weren't buying stockings anymore. So the product was so good. The companies had engineers and manufacturers make the product weaker so that they could stay in business.
They would snag and run.
Yeah.
Bastards.
I know, right? You can just be like, that's problem solved. Let's move on to the next problem.
Yeah. Crazy.
I
I don't
mean-
know if that's necessarily mind control or not, but it's some sort of control.
It's a
def-
form of manipulation, right?
yeah, just get people's dollars.
Man.
That's probably the worst thing. That's just what corporations and the government want, are your dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just want to sell you junk.
Yeah. Well, it's like Black
Yeah.
Friday. Like all the TVs they sell for $300 less, they're just made with way shittier parts. They're
Right.
made way quicker.
All the components that fail testing,
Yeah.
scrap in. That's where those come from.
Yeah.
Man,
How many TVs do you really need?
I see you looking around here, Dave, at all my TVs.
I have one TV in my house.
You have like a 500 square foot house,
It's 1,000 almost, dude.
but it's a duplex.
yeah. There's 2 houses there, so there's maybe. Actually, I think my cousin might have like 2 or 3 TVs. But
Yeah. I have 3.
I don't know. The way of the Native Americans, I think they were closer to something than we are. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Just hang out and fish.
Just more in unit, like more synchronicity with nature.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
and that's a thing too. Like all these plastics,
Right.
like those don't break down.
no.
No.
We should be making everything out of hemp plastic.
Or even
Is
just
that a thing?
glass.
Fully
reuse it.
biodegradable.
Fully biodegradable.
I had a joint roller one time that the you remember those little joint rollers where you put the little 2 rollers and it has a little piece of
Yeah, a little plastic
plastic
piece. Yeah.
and then you sit there and roll it and then the base of it was hemp plastic. You could throw that in the ground, it's going to biodegrade.
grow a tree. Oh, just biodegrade.
Well, it might have
Biodegrade.
weed seed in there and it could grow a plant, so you never know.
There's photosynthesis. There's more oxygen for everyone.
Yeah.
Well, they try to say that there's more plants right now than there's ever been because of how high our CO2 is.
That's what they're trying to say.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I don't know. Like, there's a lot of concrete out there, bro.
Yeah, we're cutting down a lot of trees every
Dude,
day.
but we're also planting a lot of trees.
Who's planting these trees?
Lots of people do.
How many trees have you planted in your life?
A couple, actually.
Justin X?
I can't count, but I've definitely planted a few trees.
I've maybe planted one. Dave, how many trees have you planted?
A shit ton.
A shit ton?
Yeah. Me and my kid like to go out with the Living Lands and Waters.
Oh,
to help
okay.
them plant trees.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
See, and like that's another thing I'm torn on is they're talking about making this old I-80 bridge into some sort of buffalo.
The 74 bridge?
That's
No.
the 80 bridge.
Yeah. They're supposed to be remaking the 80 bridge sometime. I don't know when.
Yeah,
Maybe now that the new one's done.
Weird.
But they're supposed to be turning the old one into like some sort of buffalo habitat.
Wait,
Yeah.
so they're actually going to do that?
That's what
No,
I mean. That's what they're talking about.
Okay.
There was like
Okay.
a petition.
Right. That was
It
like a
wasn't
proposed plan.
Yeah, it was not an Onion article.
Okay. Okay. Fair. No, I don't know.
But it's like, that sounds rad, actually.
It does sound super awesome.
It just sounds like so much money.
Yeah, we can't even fucking maintain the roads that we've got, dude.
Right.
Dude.
Turn one into a park.
Right. And then you want to put buffaloes over the Mississippi River. Like, come on, dude. They're going to be tripping in all the fucking potholes.
Dude, you rolling ankles and potholes on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. What else you guys got?
I got some more stuff.
You got some more stuff?
Yeah. Let's do cults.
Colts.
So I don't know if I've never known anybody to be in a cult. Either of you guys?
I'm
Or-
a Mormon.
Mormon, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's a cult.
Could be.
And you know what? Cultism is more like, so like here's some of the breakdowns I found. Overwhelming influence from leaders. You know,
yeah.
an us and them mindset. So like you don't have to necessarily be. It doesn't have to necessarily be bad. You know, and I guess I would say Mormon is probably
Where's
the
the
best cult.
line in like just a regular church and a cult? Is
I
that
mean,
like
yeah.
a fuzzy line? Like it is a cult, but it's like more people accept it.
Yeah,
It's
but
more widely accepted.
Right.
yeah, for
Right.
sure. And you know, they're not like, I mean, most churches I think are fairly open-minded. You know, if you were to be black or of another religion or this or that, and you go into most churches, I think they would be fairly accepting.
Yeah, but if you get some churchy people and you get them comfortable, I think they're going to start talking about people and the us and them.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But
And then there's one guy that leads the whole thing.
But they don't cut their patrons off from the rest of their family if they're not
We had the
Lutheran.
the exit thing. When you exit a cult, generally you're shunned. You know, you don't have friends anymore.
So you grow up in a Catholic family, all of a sudden you quit going to church on Sundays. You're not shunned?
I'm not Catholic. I can't say that.
They're,
But-
I'm Catholic, I can say that.
But I know for sure, like Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses, a lot of times they won't talk to you at all.
It's like the whole city of Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like hard to get a job there if you're not a Mormon, right?
Yeah. And like they have all sorts of crazy like alcohol laws and stuff like that.
The housing market there is insane.
Yeah. People
Crazy.
trying to go there.
Dude,
all
it's
day.
crazy. Crazy.
So like the same thing with the MK Ultra stuff. The way cults work is they start by breaking people down, through cohesive persuasion. They get all the other members to first shower newcomers with attention to feel special.
right.
And then you apply a lot of pressure on negativity, whether it be, oh, these politics, or, oh, don't you just, all this money stuff. Like, if you're with us, and then you build them back up with your mindset. Oh, if you're with us, you know, we'll help you. If you believe this, well, then these things won't happen anymore.
Yeah. We'll get you Mission Impossible 12, Tom.
Yeah, Scientology. Oh my god! So when I first heard about Scientology, I was like, it's got the word science in the name. I actually might dig this. Looked it up, and it's the most outlandish thing I've ever heard.
Yes.
It's so good though. So good.
There's a lot of people in it, and they're doing real well.
Money makes money, right?
Yeah. But so that was one thing I was thinking about for cults and brainwashing. Like, I mean, we talked about Charles Manson. You got fairly normal,
Right.
originally normal people to kill, or that
Be part of his family.
yeah, Heaven's
Yeah.
Gate. You're talking about like what was it, like 60,000 people or something crazy? Maybe that's a high ball.
That's
in
a
it. I
pretty
don't
high
know.
number, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
Is
is
that
that the
Jonestown?
yeah, Jonestown. Yeah,
Right. Yeah, I think it was like maybe 60 to 100, maybe a little bit more than that. Have you ever seen the flyover?
Yeah.
Where all
I've
the people
seen some of
laying
the
down?
pictures. Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
I feel like it's got to be. Maybe it's 6,000.
That seems high.
I thought it was like almost a whole city's worth of people.
Well, it was
Not
like,
a city, but town. Like,
I think it was like a few hundred at most.
Yeah,
Let's-
seems
yeah,
more.
well, Google it.
We have Google.
Ask Siri.
No, ask Alexa.
I don't know if my internet works down here.
Play Blue Ribbon Podcast.
Put this as your ringtone. Alexa, play Blue Ribbon Podcast. Blue Ribbon Lounge Podcast.
Forget the lounge part.
I got no signal down here.
Yeah, I don't get signal
It's a
down there
dead
either.
zone.
He's got a cell phone jammer down here.
It's all the lead in the walls.
All the lead and tinfoil.
It's because we're so far underground.
Yeah, dude.
That's what it is, dude.
I'm exhausted from that flight of stairs.
Yeah, dude.
Just take the escalator
Oh,
or the inverted tower.
Yeah.
You know, what was in that Kool-Aid? I forgot.
It was Flavor Aid.
Cyanide.
But it was cyanide made from like some plant or something, right?
Could be.
I think it was.
You can get
I watched
cyanide
something.
from.
Damn, I was way wrong.
What was it?
It's like 40 people.
Oh, see, I was close to 60.
Yeah, 60.
I knew it wasn't that many because it's like you see
I
them.
thought it was way more.
They had like a helicopter flying over them, and it was like, you know, like
Yeah, they were all like in a big pavilion.
yeah, I've seen a group of turkeys that cover more ground than that. You know what I'm saying?
More ground.
I don't
So you
know.
got anything left to get this year? You got
I still have 3 tags left. Well, two buck tags, a doe tag, and a turkey tag.
damn.
So I got a lot on my hands still to fill. Hopefully.
And that's what, like muzzle loader and shotgun and
No, just bow.
just bow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's why I haven't filled them.
That's a lot of tags.
Yeah, I mean they give bow hunters the most opportunities, I would say, out of
Okay.
because it's
Are all the tags the same price no matter what you're hunting with?
no. So turkey tags. Well,
Well, I
I
mean,
don't
like,
know, like bow versus shotgun. I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because-
I've never bought a shotgun tag, so I wouldn't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I
all
thought
high and mighty.
you only got
No,
one
no.
tag.
That might have been there's never been as many deer as there is now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, kind of wild. Yeah,
Wild turkey.
yeah, dude, it's pretty good. Lauren wants me to shoot another one because they're so tasty.
Lauren
tasty.
X.
Yes, X Factor, baby. How long have we been going?
Well, it's that time is misleading because we. I like
12 and a half hours.
yeah. I
Yeah.
just stopped a couple of times for a pee break.
Oh, right on. Right
We'll
on.
tweeze something out of this
For
I'm
sure. I'm sure we got something good here, right?
Something.
Yeah, it must have.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming down, man.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me, dude.
Yeah, it was a good time.
was fun.
Have you back sometime.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
You be our permanent Christmas guest.
Yeah. Once a year. That's it. No moss.
No.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening to the Blue Ribbon Lounge podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Make sure you hit us up on blueribbonlounge.com. Email us at blueribbonloungemoline@gmail.com if you have any ideas. We're always looking for good ideas, or maybe if you want to be on the podcast, hit us up if you got a good topic to talk about. I'm Matt Nicky.
I'm Dave.
Say goodbye, Justin.
Goodbye, Justin.
All right, you guys be good to yourselves.
Yes, remember, be sure to drink your Ovaltine.
Yes, and always wear your safety harness.
God.
It's important, dude. Safety.
Safety first.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
I feel so unprepared.